something quite fascinating is happening right now. A price structure, this bear market is playing out that is very, very, very similar on many metrics to the previous price structure that happened during the same phase in the previous bear market cycle. So I'm surprised about that. Not many people see this and actually talking about that. But I found it by accident. I was going through my notes, and then I saw some of those patterns. I put it all in one chart, and then I got some clear picture, right? We're going to discuss that first, and then we'll go through my trading notes. I hope you can catch some of those nice details that we can all use to maybe have a higher conviction on our directional bias for Bitcoin's price during that phase. Okay, so let's start without further ado. What played out here is very interesting. So we have a rising parallel channel. Some people refer to it to a rising wedge as well. And I'll show you how that looks on a different chart. You draw it differently and then you get a rising wedge. But for this analysis, it's a rising parallel channel. And after that, we test the resistance multiple times. We go above the bull market support band. We test the resistance of the 200-day moving average. We get rejected by it. And then we're finally testing the support of the rising channel. Okay. Now, what happens next is very interesting. According to the previous bear market cycle, we should break down here if everything plays out like the previous bear market cycle. Okay, let's analyze how it happened before. We tested the resistance multiple times. Here it was 2 times, and I believe in the current phase it had hit 3 times before we actually hit the 200-day moving average. So that's one caveat. Okay. After retesting the support, we had surpassed the bull market support band. We had tested the resistance level of 200-day moving average. Then we came down and saw the support of the rising channel. We tested again the bull market support band, and then we fell down. Okay, we broke down from the rising channel. All right, so if something again similar to happen, well, it's very difficult to test the bull market support band again here, but that it could play as a resistance level for price to just wiggle around between the support line of the rising channel, and of course the bull market support band can happen something like that, and then maybe you retest and go down. Okay, if it is to play out in a previous manner to the previous bear market cycle. So that's very interesting. And if you argue if is this a rising parallel channel or not, well, it's actually I just did that here to see if it's a parallel channel or not, and it turns out that it could be, right? If it's drawn out, it could be. But I do not like usually those lines. We do that, bam, it's a parallel channel. Pretty nice, right? Pretty nice. Also, what's interesting is that fib level, right, if aligned well, was the previous support for the rising wedge, the previous phase, that rising wedge. Oh yeah, one more thing to actually recognize from here is we did something very similar in the previous phase of this bear market cycle, right? So we were playing around that rising channel, which was more of a rising wedge, and we got rejected of the bull market support band. We went down to the resistance level. We support level. We flipped it to resistance. We got rejected from that, and we went down, of course, to that first leg down move of the bear market. So that whole move is just one leg down, basically. Every bear market cycle has 2 leg downs, and usually maybe a little half leg down right there. For example, I'll show you on this market cycle, the 2021, you go down, you go up in the consolidation period, then you form the second leg down, which is usually more severe than the first leg down, and then we consolidate in the accumulation range, or you can call that as well a little drop right there, right? So yeah, that's how usually bear markets play out. Mostly 2 leg downs. Here that's 1 leg down. Major consolidation zone. We break from that consolidation zone. We form another leg down. accumulation zone, and then the bull market begins again. Interesting structure that always plays out in Bitcoin bear market cycles, at least. So let me know what you think about the similarities between this bear market cycle phase and the previous one. I hope it had shown you something maybe you had not seen before. And before we go to my trading notes, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mo. I'm a crypto and macro markets speculator. I've been a speculator like seriously for the past 5 years, but I've been like into the markets for longer than that. I would say like without capital 7 years, but since I was a child, I would actually read a lot of books on economies and trading and money, and that's why I fell in love with Bitcoin, because I just didn't believe in the financial system and understood that value of money is just perception, right? Anyway, that's a topic for another video as well. Yeah, let's go through my notes. Oh, I'm sorry about all the rebranding that happened, because I'm doing a lot of testing from the channel name to the thumbnails to the text. So if you're a returning viewer and you're like, what's happening here? Why does it always change? Well, I'm actually testing a lot of the thumbnails and what gets the most clicks and to the most duration, the most likes, and did my own analysis. Now I think we've stuck to the original thumbnail we had used. It was the best performing. So maybe now you'll see some more of consistency in the thumbnail and text, as I was doing a lot of testing, right? I'm a researcher by heart. That's how I like to speculate in the markets. I research a lot, I test a lot of strategies, and then I find the best performing ones, and I stick to those for a while before I test again. So maybe another year till we test again, right? This one, we have talked about that theory multiple times. It always has its own video. It's called usually How Low Can Bitcoin Go, or How Everybody Underestimates This Bear Market Phase, right? And if you take the statistics of all bear market phases as such, from top to bottom, you find that the bottom range is usually between here and here. We usually go between 77%, which is the last bear market cycle, from top to bottom, to 87%, which is the first bear market cycle that had happened for Bitcoin. And that range actually shows from the top to the bottom the percentage decline, and that's the range, 77% to 87%. I don't know, you would look like the statistics looks, I mean, it's unrealistic for this bear market cycle, right? But if you also look at the trend of the movement, right, from 87, 84, 77, that descending order. So I do not believe we're going to go actually 77% from top to bottom. I believe if you calculate as well, you'll see we came to a conclusion that we might be 11% less severe this time. So that would put us around 3, 4, 4, that's around 66% or something like that. Yeah, which would put us around in this range, right? So this range, this is why I have this range, target bear market range for me. For myself, of course, that includes my bias, and nothing said in this video is financial advice. It's only for education purposes only. So I hope that some of those things just give you ideas and inspirations to do your own research and analysis before making any major investment decisions, because trading and speculating and investing in general, they're dangerous ventures if not taken with great care and risk control and money management, right? The most important thing is controlling your risk and capital preservation. So there should be strategies in place before you start trading. If you're a beginner, or hopefully if you're very experienced, then those strategies, you're probably refining some of those strategies, which I am going through right now as well, right? Those are some video ideas, and some of I'll show the market from top to bottom. Yes, I did show the market. So that shows the major support that's playing here. This megaphone structure that was playing out before, some major lines of resistance and support, previous support and resistance. So we got rejected off that line, actually, pretty interesting. And right now we are having that major resistance line, right? It seems to be reacting a little bit above there, so we're gonna do that. But seems like right now is a major resistance area, so I would expect maybe some consolidation here before we can roll over, if it is to be rolling over. For all we know, we could retest the range highs again and maybe go to that major level, right? It's very possible to go up there. It's very possible, the 85,000 level. Yep, rising parallel channel and some fibs over here. We've talked about this theory that we are in the great consolidation period, and we refer to it based on price structure, drawdown, how Bitcoin behaves around those areas usually. And this has been a very useful analysis that had been used a lot. And a lot of people now starting to wake up to the fact that we are not here and we are not here, we are here. And I kept switching my mind sometimes because a lot of people were very confident we're here now. Okay. And then I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, but always trust yourself. Always trust yourself. Because I mean, if you understand, if you read about the greatest investors of the world, they always tell you never listen to people, never listen to the tips. Ironic, because I'm here kind of sharing my ideas, but usually as a good uh, tip, which is you shouldn't be taking tips, but this tip maybe use it. Don't really, if you think something, don't be influenced too much by other people. Okay. I've always thought we're here. I thought that period was that period. Just a little bit elongated, and that period was that period. But a lot of people were showing different ideas, and turns out now everybody goes to agreement with that, which is cool. Which is cool. Had made me some costly mistakes, but nevertheless, that period is similar to that period, even though sometimes I take that whole. No, actually, that's the first leg down move. That's the consolidation period. That's the support line of the first leg down move. You see where we find the support usually at the bottom of the first leg down, and of course the resistance is usually the bottom of the short-term mid relief rally that happens in between the first leg down move, right? So the first leg down usually has two zones like that, short relief rally, and then you find the bottom of the first leg down move, right? We discussed that a lot on this channel as well. So yeah, we're currently right here. So if you take the snippet of the previous bear market cycle and not adjust the date, then we're actually too late on the drop, right? So we had dropped much earlier in the previous bear market cycle. Right now we're a little bit late, but that zone seems to be the window of weakness for Bitcoin. And usually June, July is a bad few months for markets in general. And if you look at the VWAP, if we just arrange it right here, something similar happened before. So the VWP click, and then after a while we break from the rising channel. Similarly here, the VWP clicked, but here it clicked at the bottom move, not the up move, all right, not at the top of the move. Here it clicked at the top of the move, okay? And usually that signals major volatility, right? So when that clicks, means volatility is either going to contract soon if it was compressed, or if it was compressed, then it's going to contract, right? It just says switch in regime, right? For example, here you got compression of the VWP, you got an expansion, compression, expansion, right? And here it was expansion, compression, calm down. Right here, compression, expansion. Compression means the VW compresses. After the expansion, it was kind of like, there are no volatility. Sometimes it even signals just, that nothing changes. Consolidation period continues, but that means we're halfway through the consolidation period. As you can see here, it was a halfway. But then the VW clicks again, expansion. So it marks a lot of major turning points, and that's why I like to use it. Here, it marked that expansion phase or the mid of the consolidation phase. I think that's what it meant here, more likely. It will be more clearer when, of course, more candles get printed out. But the next estimated contraction of the WAP is in, of course, 1st of July. And in 1st of July, if we were to break down here, then that would mean that marked the expansion. You just got manipulation and then expansion. Similarly to here, we sometimes manipulate. See, the VW contracted, and then we went up, we went down, we manipulated the bulls and the bears, and then we expanded to the top. And that VWB contraction again marked the end of the expansion phase. Interesting stuff, right? So the July contraction could signal one, the end of the expansion. That means we would do something as such, that boom, and we go to July. And the July move would be the ending move. Now, where I think we could find the low is probably in this range, right? And here to here. But I think let's just put it there, around July. Okay. But if we click in July, then that would actually mean that we would go up now, and then we go down, and then we resist again, and then break down to, I'm not sure when the VWB would click again, but I think it's around September or something. But it doesn't need to always mark the end of the phase. We could end and then we could contract after. That's what usually sometimes happens. So those are two possible scenarios that I think could play out. Of course, if you had noticed, I'm more of a leaning towards to the bear side right now rather than the bull side. But of course, we could go up anytime. Nobody knows what's happening. But probabilistically, I'm 70% that we're going to break down at some point. Not up, 70%. Right, because the macro conditions just do not look good. And if you think the fundamentals and the macro is what sets my bias usually, and the price structure, usually I use it for timing wise, right? So my bias, macro wise, is to the bear, around 70% probability. Market structure is harder to predict when things can go down, but I'm prepared either soon or later, possibly. And of course, if we show signs of strength and we start breaking the rising parallel channel to the upside and retest and go up and make possibly a higher high like that, sure, awfully bullish. I mean, I'm here to make money and I'm here to be right. I'm not here to push Bitcoin down or push Bitcoin up. No, I want to be in harmony with the market. And of course, if things look bullish, we do have to switch bullish. We do have to switch to be harmonic with the price, because we are here to be right. Okay, and being right is what makes you money. Just money is just a simple way of saying, yeah, I was right about the analysis, right? I was right about the fundamentals. I was right about the timing. I was right about taking care of my risk and not losing my capital while waiting to be right. Okay, yeah, just a few more charts. Here we're getting some major resistance area from that trend line, right? That goes across from here. This is how the rising wedge can be drawn out, and that line just shows where I think the bottom could be. Basically, if you recency bias works spectacularly well in markets, and if you just basically do that, you can get a good idea. It doesn't say the exact price, but good idea where things can go. For example, if I wanted to know the extent of that move, what I would do is that, and then I would do, even though it's less reliable, we got almost to the same level, right? And yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff, right? Similarly here, so I've never done that, but it's a good test, right? Blind test. Yeah, pretty close. So that just signals that, and that is just the whole phase. So there could be a short-term relief rally in between, similarly to what happened right here, right? I see something similar being playing out later, hopefully. Jesse Livermore, of course, his great speculative chart. Always use it. This was one of my first signals to understand that there won't be an euphoric phase, as we should have done that based on that. And we do have a specific video for that, right? But instead, we've broken down. Once we've broken down, I knew the 8th point should be up, but the 8th point was sadly down. And this is why I flipped very bearish at that point. I shorted the market here. Here I exit my position because that was just not something we should be doing based on previous behavior of the market structure, and I actually exited my long position around there, yeah, right here. But of course I longed way before. So yep, this is some nice rising parallel channel structure. So those are the 3 factors I usually look at to do my trade. Yeah, we got rejected of the 3.618 according to that falling parallel channel, right? It's a pretty nice thing. I've been using it a lot, and it had shown the great levels that can show resistance and of course support. So here we got the resistance here. We should see some support here if we were to continue, but if we break from that level, there'll be a major signal that we are heading to that 50K range, right? At least by minimum or possibly lower. We could sometimes break. You see, we could on way up moves, we could break complete levels and go to the upside. And yeah, see this, we usually go 2 levels up, and those forms as consolidation zones or resistance. On the way down, something similar happened for the first leg down move. Here we found a pause similar to what we found here. Pretty interesting stuff. So that's why I do think we are going to those areas, because here we will go down, probably find some kind of support here, and then we go down lower, and that would be a nice place to rest upon the great consolidation period falling parallel channel. That's just some weird structures that I think were useful. This was an early signal that the bulls are winning, because I like those bending channels, right? They give earlier signals than most, similar to here, right? You can see how those played out. They are not playing out as much anymore, but they're pretty interesting thing to keep an eye of, right? For right now, we're having this major support line. If we can close the weekly candle there, at least a little bit below, or that would give me a higher conviction that we are going lower soon. Yeah, and that's looking decent. And yeah, that's my methodology. All right, cool. So I think this is all. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did like it, do please leave a like. And if you do want to watch more market updates like this, or more in-depth analysis on theories, and we use both fundamentals and price structure, and we have a probabilistic approach to make it more scientific and increase our conviction, right? And just guessing game. So yeah, if you did enjoy it, do subscribe, do ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next market update / video. Peace out. Trade safe.